This is Darcia, and today we're going to be making London Fog Macarons. So this is an Earl Grey shell, and it has honey and vanilla buttercream frosting inside. And if you want to know how to make the frosting or the buttercream, check out my video that I will link also for that. So to start, we need almond flour, and we need powdered sugar, and we need eggs, and we need granulated sugar. Just those 4 items to make macarons. So start off with a very large bowl, and I have a sieve. I have a weight scale here that you need to use grams. So I'm putting everything on my scale, turning it on so it zeroes it out, and we're going to add in, I'm making a double batch, but the single batch is 110 grams of almond flour and 200 grams of powdered sugar. I'm gonna do 220 grams of almond flour and 400 grams of powdered sugar. So, straight in, zeroed out, 220 grams. I'm getting there. Okay. Then I'm going to zero out my scale and add in 400 grams of powdered sugar. And it's really full, so I'll try not to let it spill too much. All right. Now we need to sift these together. So sift it in the way that you like best. I just tap on my sift or my sieve. Sometimes I shake it a little bit, but I can't shake it too much right now because it's so full. What this is going to do, it's going to break up any or make sure that no big clumps of almond meal get through. Sometimes powdered sugar can be clumpy too, and we don't want those clumps. So we're going to do our best to get them all out. Now that I'm at the end, there's really just a couple of crumbs at the bottom. I don't want to force those to go through. They are some lumps of almond meal, and they're just a gram or 2 in weight, so those will be discarded. My recipe calls for 50 grams of eggs, of egg whites. So we need 200 grams of egg whites for this double batch that I'm making. So I've now done 3. So I think we're going to use all 6 eggs. You also want to make sure you are very careful with your egg whites. Don't break the yolks into the egg whites. If you do, well, then they won't whip into stiff cakes. Okay. We are just now at 200 grams. So again, make sure that the bowl is very clean. We don't want any oils. You can give it a wipe down with some white vinegar if you are not sure that the inside of the bowl is clean. So egg whites go in here. The egg whites now are frothy, so I'm going to add the white sugar that we talked about. This is 100 grams of white sugar. But again, I doubled the recipe, so if you're just making a single recipe, do 50. And I'm just adding a little bit. making the London Fog Macarons. I'm gonna make them just a little bit purple. I don't know why. I just feel like they need to be a little bit purple. So that is what I'm going to do. I used Violet. This is from Wilton. So this is the Wilton Violet. So that is the little drop that we put in of the violet. Let's check and see if we have the stiff peaks. As you can see, those are what you want to see. You can see how that peak is just going straight up. This one's straight up. So you know you're good as far as the macaron. Okay, so what we didn't do earlier that is so important. This is literally what makes them London Fog Macarons, or at least Earl Grey, is Earl Grey. And so I'm just laughing because I have made these macarons. I can't tell you how many times I've made them in my life. And you would think I would remember to put in the most important ingredient, but all is not lost. There is still time. So I am just cutting open some just regular old, as you can see, tea bags. This is Twinings Earl Grey. It's a great Earl Grey. I really like the flavor of Tazo Earl Grey as well. That's my favorite to drink. And this is a mortar and pestle. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a grind, even though the tea leaves are very fine. I just want it to be as fine as possible. So just around, kind of around and around. You feel like an apothecary doing this. So it's very fine. It's just almost powder now at this point. So I'm just going to dump that into the almond meal and powdered sugar. This is my trusty spatula. I love it. It's a little curved, almost like a spoon. I love this spatula. So I'm just quickly making sure that from our sift, all of the ingredients are mixed. Can you see the little tiny flecks of Earl Grey? I hope so. I'm going to just add the meringue to the dry. I do it all at once. I've seen people do it in stages, but I haven't found that to give me better macarons anyway. So I'm not telling you not to do it, only what I seem to think works for me. I want to make sure I do get all of the meringue out of the bowl as much as possible. I'm going to just quickly kind of get the dry on top. And then this is where we start doing folds. And I do a spin on my bowl. I want to deflate the bubbles that we made in the macaron or the meringue process. So I'm doing that by gently swiping through the meringue with the dry. This fold does not do a lot to disrupt the meringue, so you can then incorporate the almond flour and the powdered sugar and the Earl Grey into the meringue pretty well without over mixing. I want to give you a disclaimer. I am not a professional chef. I have never gone to culinary school. I just really like to cook, and I like to try to figure things out and see if I can create what I see online and, you know, see if I can do it. At this point, I'm kind of just making cuts through it, and every once in a while I just look at my batter. Does it break? Yes, it broke. It's not really falling like a ribbon, but it's almost there. You can also see that it's getting more glossy. it's breaking just a little bit. Just another turn. Just another, it's just right there. It's not great. You won't get a good cookie if you overmix or if you undermix. That's the hard thing about macarons. So that's falling pretty ribbon-like. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that good. I have a pastry bag fitted with a round tip. This one is a number 12. I have it sitting in this cup just to provide support because I'm doing this one-handed. So we'll just fill this up until it's most of the way full. I have a flat cookie sheet with a silicone mat. You can also use parchment paper. And after I'm done piping these, we really give them quite a good tap. And you bang these down on a countertop or a hard surface because you want to get out any excess air bubbles. And that motion spreads macarons out even more. So if you start out with them already on the large size, it's possible they could flow together. And I've had that done before. They can also flow together if you've overmixed your batter. The macaronage was too much. So if you find that your macarons just feel too flowy, give them less turns next time. You can't salvage it. You can't add more powdered sugar and almond flour at this stage. You just can't. So now that I have one tray piped, I'll show you the tapping. It's pretty straight down, so I just kind of let it go. Now, if there's air bubbles, they've risen to the surface. And I'm going to, in fact, I see a couple here that just look like they just barely got popped. These will now sit and cure. They kind of dehydrate. Depending on how humid your kitchen is or how hot your kitchen is, it could take anywhere from half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, somewhere in that range. I'm going to go ahead and pipe out the rest of my macarons onto silicone mats while these start to cure. You can tell that they're no longer wet, and now they are ready to be baked. I'm going to go ahead and bake these at 300 degrees, and I'm going to bake them for about 15 minutes, but I'll keep my eye on them. So I want to show you what these look like. Look at the feet on these macarons. Like, that's incredible. Don't they look amazing? So I'm gonna let these cool now. They're all cooled off. See this one? It just fell off. See how smooth the backside is? It looks so beautiful, and the feet are so tall. I'm going to match the macarons to each other. Even though I did try to make these all, the same shape, there's sometimes a little bit of discrepancy. So when they match up perfectly like that, then I will just stick them together. This is a matched set. I will do that to all of these, just seeing which ones look like they fit together. And then when it comes time to fill them, it will be so easy. So for example, look at this one. See, it matches here, but it's quite a bit of an overlap here. So that's not a match. So I will kind of, that's a perfect match. So I'll set that one aside and we'll get all of these done. are going to want to make these. They are so good.